Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me here again, and I also wanted to say a really big thank you to every single person that watched my first video. I know that one went for a very long time, so really thank you so much, and also for sending through all your emails and comments. It was great receiving all the feedback from you and you guys letting me know what you want to see next. So today it's definitely going to be a lot more concise than last time because I know, as I said, that went for quite some time. So today I wanted to chat to you about affordable foundations, because one of the biggest questions that I got from my first video was everyone wanting to know what was the dupe product to that Giorgio Armani foundation that I mentioned, because you all know I love the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk. I think there's a lot of girls out there that also love it as well, but it is expensive. It's over $90 for one bottle, and when you're wearing foundation every single day, sometimes you're changing your makeup twice a day, you know, you do go through a bottle quite easily. So I thought I'd put together my top 4 foundations that you can just buy from Chemist Warehouse, the supermarket, Priceline, all those places where you can find really affordable foundations. And I wanted to really put together my top 4 for you here today. And these are the foundations that I've tried over the years. Some of them are new to my collection as well that I've recently been loving. I think these products here, I'll tell you why I love them, why they're good for my skin type as well. As I've mentioned in the past, I've got quite an oily T-zone, and then I can be quite dry in other sort of areas on my skin as well. So I've got a little bit of a combination skin, but really I do lean to quite an oily T-zone and oily skin. That's probably the Italian in me, I'm very oily. And then I also look for a foundation that's got quite a medium to full coverage as well, because I like a foundation that I can build up, and I do like a foundation that I can wear straight out from work tonight. So I'm excited to go through all of these with you, and when I put them on as well, I'm going to take my makeup off and I'm going to show you one side of the face, which is the bare face, and the other side with the foundation. I thought I'd also mention as well my different surroundings in comparison to my first video. So I recently just moved house. I've been in this house for a few weeks now. I was recently located in Albert Park, but we've just moved a few streets away, and yeah, we love our house. We need to do a little bit of work to it. It's an old heritage Federation home. It's got lots of character to it, so I can't wait to take you through my house. You know, maybe in the next few months once we start working on it. It's probably not in a state to be seen at the moment because we've still got boxes everywhere, and with these old heritage homes there's not much storage, so I've got to sort of work out that side of thing with my ridiculous wardrobe and linen and where I'm going to fit everything. So working through that, but I can't wait to show you through that down the track. But this room's really interesting. So right through here is actually the bathroom, the master bathroom, and in between the master bedroom and also the lounge room here as well. So it's a really interesting little space. I've got a really big window in front of me, so that's why I thought it'd be a good location to do this video so you could really see my skin. And then it's got beautiful tiles on the floor as well. I think the previous owners used this as their office space, but it gets quite warm in here, so I'll use it as my makeup station for now. So I've just washed my face and I just moisturised with the Paula's Choice Moisture Boost. This is what I always use. I moisturised about 5 minutes ago because I want to make sure that the moisturiser is really synced into my skin. Normally I would also use a primer as well. At the moment I've been loving the Wonder Glow by Charlotte Tilbury, but I'm not going to use a primer today because I just want you to see exactly how the foundation looks on bare skin. So I don't want a primer to alter anything, because sometimes they can sort of alter the colour that your foundation goes into the skin, how it oxidizes, and then also the way it finishes on the skin. So the first foundation I wanted to chat to you about is the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless foundation. I was super excited when I found this foundation earlier this year. It is just incredible. Like, I feel like it was almost made for my skin tone and skin type because I am quite oily, and as soon as I normally, you know, pop on foundation, I just get oily straight away and my foundation starts sliding off. So this one is fantastic. This one's great because it comes in 40 different shades as well. So I think that's a real difference between, you know, your cheaper, affordable foundations to your higher end. Sometimes you can't find the exact color that suits your skin tone as well. Sometimes I find them a little bit too yellow or a bit too pink, but this one has a really great range of shades. So the color that I'm going to use today is color 310, and this is for when I'm a little bit darker. I'm really white on my face at the moment. Normally I love to wear a little bit of self-tan, but my body has a little bit of self-tan on it, so I want to match my face to my body. My body is so much darker than my face because I never let my face see any of the sun. So I'll show you this one. So the one thing I really don't like about this one is the fact that it's a sort of removable top like this. I normally love a pump because I just find that you lose so much product when you've got a foundation bottle like this, but I think they probably did this to save costs because the foundation's only $9.95, which is so affordable. So I guess it's like, you know, you need to work out where you need to save your costs, so that's fair enough because the product is truly really premium. So I'm just going to show you this one. See how you lose, and it's like just really fiddly to use. So you can see the color of this one. So it's actually quite watery, this product, but that's really great because it means that it's really buildable on the skin, and it allows you to sort of pop it on really easily, and it works really well with the brush. So I'll just pop this on. I might actually bring the camera a little bit closer as well. So I've got the camera closer now. So you can see how this one really easily just glides onto the skin. And it's just such a flawless finish. I like this one as well because it doesn't dry super quick. I think sometimes with these matte foundations, they can dry and harden really quickly on the face. Really beautiful finish to this one. I'm not sure if you can see that there. So that side with the makeup, and that side obviously with the bare skin. So I really love this because it feels really light on the skin. As I mentioned before, it's really buildable. So if you wanted to pop another layer of foundation on, you could definitely do so with one of your beauty blenders. I like it at the moment because it gives quite a full, it's not a full coverage, it's a medium to full, but you could definitely make it a full coverage if that's what you're after. And I've got a really funny story with this foundation as well. I had it on, when was it? It was yesterday. No, not yesterday, the day before. I had it on, had a really hectic day. Then Jim and I went for dinner. We didn't get home till 8 o'clock. Bath Aston, put him to sleep, watched a movie, and then I was being super lazy and I didn't take my makeup off because I was just exhausted after Christmas. Went to bed with my makeup on. Next morning, got up early, went for a walk because I'm trying to be fit. We're already getting into the New Year's spirit. And I was sweating because it was one of those 30-degree days and my makeup just stayed on. So it is very long lasting, and I just thought that was incredible because I know some of those even higher end foundations that you're spending way more money on than this one wouldn't even last through me sort of walking and sweating it up outside. So it is a foundation that's really great if you want it to last all day long as well, and you've got to pop it on in the morning at 6 a.m. and then you've got a long day at work and maybe you're going out later that night. So it's a great one for that reason. So the next one I wanted to chat to you about is actually the dupe product to the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk. So this is the product that I think is very, very similar to that Giorgio Armani. This is a L'Oreal True Match foundation. So the L'Oreal True Match actually make a Lumi, which is a luminous product, which is actually even more similar to the Giorgio Armani. But that's why I have to mix the Giorgio Armani with the Makeup Forever, as I mentioned in the last post, because the Giorgio Armani by itself is just way too sheer for me with my oily skin. But this one is actually a great combination of almost the Makeup Forever and Giorgio Armani together. It's a really fantastic foundation. It's super blendable. It's got an SPF of 17 as well, which is an added bonus because the Giorgio Armani doesn't have an SPF to it, or I don't think it's got an SPF to it. Got that one here. No, it doesn't have an SPF to it, I don't think, but if I'm wrong, please correct me in the comment section below. But this one's fantastic. I love this one because you can still see your skin through the foundation, and I think it is pretty true to, as the name suggests. It says here it perfectly matches skin color and texture, and it does. I'll show you once I pop it on, but I find that once you sort of pop it onto your skin, it really does sort of working with the color and tone that you've got. It is 6N Honey. I find that this one's really great for my tone of skin. I'll show you if you can see that. And now I'll pop it on. See, it's so similar to the Giorgio Armani, I find. It's super blendable like the Giorgio Armani. And this one's only, $14.95, so the difference is just massive. And it's, you'd wear this one all through the week, and then you could wear the Giorgio Armani or the Makeup Forever for something really special, like a night out with the girls, or when you've got a big event on or different function. That's when I'd pull out the Giorgio Armani. So I might move the camera closer again so you can see. I'll just applying this one, so you can see it's got such a similar finish to the Giorgio Armani. It just goes on so flawless on the skin, and I just love that you can still see, you know, your skin through the product as well. So you can see here it's actually quite luminous on my skin, and that's because I do have quite oily skin. So I think that if you've got skin similar to mine that is quite on the side of being more oily, I think you definitely go for the L'Oreal, got it all dirty, L'Oreal True Match. I think if you are someone that's got more normal to dry skin, then you'd go for the L'Oreal Lumi product, as that is very similar to the Giorgio Armani, but it's just a little bit too luminous and watery for me, where this product is incredible. And this is pretty much my go-to when I don't want to use those more higher end products, because I think that this one is just such a beautiful color as well. I think it can be so hard to find really beautiful colors sometimes with those more lower end foundations, and this one is just so similar to the 6.5 Giorgio Armani, so I really love it. So that has the foundation. So the next one I wanted to chat about is the Bourjois Healthy Mix Foundation. So I have loved this foundation forever, and speaking to so many makeup artists as well, this is really a go-to. It really is a really incredible foundation. Now this is actually the one, I'm so silly, this is the one I was actually thinking of and talking about in my first video, because Bourjois used to be one of my clients, and I do remember because Bourjois actually owns Chanel, or vice versa, I cannot recall exactly which way it is, but they actually always say that this is very similar to the Chanel Vita Lumiere. And in my last video, I was getting confused thinking that the Giorgio Armani was similar to this, but this one is actually very similar to that Chanel product. But I do think in many ways it is similar to the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk for me as well. I just feel it's got a similar beautiful color to it and consistency. It's a little bit thicker than the Giorgio Armani and the L'Oreal True Match. But this is a really beautiful product. It's definitely a beautiful product if you loved that Chanel Vita Lumiere product as well. It's very, very similar. It's got a beautiful vitamin mix enriched in it as well, so it's quite good for your skin. I was just looking that it says that it's got the apricot for radiance, melon for hydration, and apple to protect your youth. So anyway, that's what it says. I'm not sure about all of that, but I do know that I've always loved this product, and it just finishes really beautifully on the skin. It's not as matte as some of the other foundations that I've mentioned, so I do find that it tends to slide off the skin a little bit, but it's for those ladies that really love a beautiful, light, healthy glow, beautiful foundation that's really going to suit a sort of normal skin tone. I think if you want something a little bit more of a full coverage, you probably wouldn't go for this one. You can work this one up if you are after that finish, but I definitely recommend trying the Bourjois Healthy Mix. And I do think that sometimes Bourjois is a foundation that maybe doesn't get as much, or a brand that doesn't get as much notice as some of the big players like L'Oreal and Maybelline, but I think this product is definitely its hero. So I'll show you the color and consistency. So you can, don't know if you can see, but I can feel that it's definitely a lot thicker than the True Match that I just applied. I don't particularly like the smell of it. That is one thing that I have to say I don't like about this one. It's definitely got a strong scent, which I can't even explain what it is. Some people might like it. It's probably a perfumey scent. I can't put my finger on what type of perfume, but it's definitely a perfumey scent, which I don't really like my foundations to have any scent to them at all. Work this one into the skin. So it probably doesn't slide on as well as the Fit Me or the True Match foundation. I think that could be just because it's a tiny little bit thicker, and maybe this is a product that you probably should be applying more with a beauty blender, even though I never do. I just always apply it with my Morphe foundation brush that I love. So that's the finish there. So yeah, it's definitely a little bit more dewy as well, as I mentioned, in comparison to the other foundations are a little bit more matte. The other thing with this one as well is it doesn't have a really great shade selection. I think it only comes in 6 different shades as well. So I think if you had super dark skin, you may not be able to find the shade that you're after. It is a foundation that you really need to try because it's really got a beautiful finish. It's definitely a foundation that you need to set with powder, as I find that it's a little bit more sticky than the other foundations that I've mentioned so far. But in saying that, you know, you just set it with some translucent powder, or, you know, you set it with the Giorgio Armani that I always use, and you'll be fine. So the next one that I want to mention is the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Matte Foundation. So this one here is probably the thickest foundation that I use and own, and it also is quite matte. It's definitely a foundation that you should save for the night because it is quite thick and heavy. But in saying that, when you apply it, eyes matte, but it's not super matte. Your face doesn't feel like it's cracking when you smile. It still has a slightly dewy finish to it. But the thing with this one is that it dries very fast, so it's quite hard to build up if you want to build up on the product, which I guess you wouldn't particularly need to because it is such a thick product. But I do find that when it does dry so quickly, sometimes it's hard to really master the way to apply it. So I think you need to have a little bit of skill. I do love the packaging. I love the way that you can easily twist the product out. And when I was first trialing this one, and even in the supermarket sort of testing out what color I would be, I'd apply it onto my skin and it'd be drying instantly. So I better work pretty quick on this one. And I also don't think I have the right tone. I think, the right color. So this is the 24 Golden Beige. So I think, as you can see, this is a lot more yellow than the other colors. So working this one in, it is such a great foundation, but I think the difference is that you can already probably tell it looks like I've got foundation on my skin, but it's definitely going to cover up all your flaws. Like, if you know, those times when I've got blemishes, it definitely covers them up really great. You can even see the difference from there to there. There's the thickness of the product. So it says it's got 24-hour staying power, which is huge. I've never actually tested it out for that time to know if it actually lasts 24 hours on your skin, but the fact that it dries so quick and stays, I think it definitely would have that staying power. I do really love this one as well because you don't need any powder to set it, so if you're on the run, it's a really great foundation for that. And it does feel really beautiful on the skin. It's already dry on my skin. It's gonna stay there, I know, because I've tested this one all day and all night. So that is a really great bonus of the product. So that's it, guys. I hope you like my video on my top 4 affordable foundations. So just to mention as well, I wasn't paid by any of the brands involved in this video. As you know, I will always disclose that with you. These are just products that I've tried and tested over the years. I know they're incredible. I use them daily, and I think that you will hopefully love them too. Please let me know what you want to see next. It was really great hearing from all you guys last time, as I know I've got a skincare tutorial to come next, as that was something that you wanted to see. So please let me know, and I hope to chat to you guys soon. Bye.